Welcome to the latest segment of Moments Off the Mat, presented by USA Wrestling. I'm Derek Sikora, Manager of State Services for USA Wrestling. Today I'm joined by Steve Costanzo, Head Wrestling Coach at St. Cloud State University in Minnesota, Division II powerhouse for wrestling in the last couple of years. Steve, thanks for joining us today and taking a little bit of time.
Yeah, thank you, Derek. Appreciate you having me.
So first of all, just to get started, I'm just curious to know after, I know you guys' tournament got canceled, which I don't want to really talk about that, but just wondering kind of how your world has changed and what you're up to now that this whole lockdown is in place.
Well, yeah, it sure has changed. And, not having contact with your student athletes on a regular basis is definitely something new to me. Although we do get to talk to them over the phone and email, text, Zoom, all that sort of stuff. It's just not the same. But just trying to keep myself busy, which isn't very difficult. There's plenty of work that needs to be done. Being an essential employee, we are able to come into the office. So I do come into the office every day and work. And, there's a lot of different things that I'm working on right now. But it certainly is different. And I'm not very happy with it, that's for sure.
Gotcha. So just to start out, I'd just be interested to hear your story. And I think a lot of people haven't heard it very much, but just talk about kind of your journey and how you got to St. Cloud State University.
Yeah, I was at Dana College previously before here, and in 2006, we had the opportunity. Well, we won the NAIA national championship, and at that time, there was some opportunities to look at some other jobs that came open, and I applied for the St. Cloud State job the very last day that it was on the market at that time, and I think I got a call back after I applied 45 minutes later, and from Coach Steve Grimmett, and Coach Steve Grimmett gave me a call back, and I got an interview. So talked to my wife about it. We came up a week later. But I knew I was familiar with St. Cloud State, wrestling in the North Central Conference for Nebraska Omaha. So I'd been here as a competitor, and being in this centralized location in Minnesota, I felt like it was a great opportunity for me and my family to come up here and coach the Huskies.
Good deal. And also, obviously, you've have had some success. And I just want to read a couple of stats here. So in your total, you've coached 168 national qualifiers, 94 All-Americans, 7 national champions, and 123 academic All-Americans. So just to start out with that, the most impressive stat to me in that whole list is the amount of academic All-Americans that you've been able to produce. And I know before even coming to St. Cloud State, you've obviously been doing something right, because at Dana College, your team finished second academically in the country. So just curious to know what makes you guys so great academically, and what you guys push your guys to be, successful in the classroom, but also on the mat.
We place a huge emphasis on academics, and during the whole recruiting process, we make sure that prospective student athletes are aware of that while we are interested in their ability as a wrestler, we're more interested in their ability in the classroom. So fortunately, I've had some great assistants here, including yourself, several years ago. And one of the responsibilities that I put on our assistant coaches is to make sure that they communicate with our student athletes on a regular basis. And whether it's study halls, whether it's tutoring services, whether it's grade checks, whether it's class checks. We have a really nice system in place, and I think we're really on top of what our kids are doing in the classroom academically.
And just kind of going along with that, I've heard you talk a lot about, and obviously, like you said, I've experienced it because I coached it for a little while. Talking about how you rebuilt that program and getting that kind of core group into St. Cloud State. I'm thinking of like John Sundgren, Tad Merritt, those guys that kind of propelled the the program to be great starting out. What was that rebuilding process like for you?
Well, you mentioned some really good wrestlers there, and some guys that really got this thing started here several years ago. And there's many more to mention besides those guys. But, I guess, when you go back to the recruiting side of things, this was a great opportunity, I thought, as a head coach. And I think that they felt like this was a great opportunity for them. It's a great location. It's a great institution. But, at that time, as far as wrestling goes, didn't have a lot going for us in terms of success on the mat. But we sold our vision to these guys, and our vision was that we could be an elite Division II program here in Central Minnesota and nationally as well. So with the success that those guys came in and gave us, really propelled us to that next level, and recruiting got a little bit easier. The sell got a little bit easier in terms of getting guys here to want to compete for us. But yeah, you got to give a lot of credit to those guys, John Sundgrens and, Tad Merritts and Gabe Suarez. And I mean, there's just so many guys to mention that started this whole process, brought the first trophy to St. Cloud State. Matter of fact, you were on that team in 2000, I think it was 2011, right, Derek? We were coaching together, and we brought the first trophy home to St. Cloud State at that time. And when we brought that trophy home, I think everybody realized that, hey, we can get to that next level and we can win a national championship. So it was a big step for the program, but having those guys and the success of those type of athletes to come in and buy into what we were doing was what really got things started for us in terms of success on the mat.
And then just kind of following up on that, you talked about, in 2011 getting that first trophy, but in 2015, I believe, is when you guys won the national title. And I don't think a lot of people know this, but that was the first ever national championship for St. Cloud State, correct?
Yeah, it was. It was the first national title in school history and over 100 and something years of St. Cloud State athletics. So it's something that we're really proud of.
Yep. You should be, obviously. And just kind of going into that, you're going to be starting your 15th season at St. Cloud State University, and year in, year out at, I follow your program very close and the guys, and it seems like you're winning national titles, but then the next year the rankings come out and you guys are always number 2 or number 3, and maybe you don't have a lot of guys ranked, but by the end of the year you have, most of your guys are ranked in the top 5, and just talk about what that development process is like, and, getting to that point at the end and just, putting it all into the national tournament and being able to bring a trophy home.
Well, I think that success has been contagious here, and there's been very high expectations to go along with that, not just in terms of our coaching staff, but the guys that we bring in our room and the veterans before them. The leaders in that room has been pivotal in terms of continuing to be successful and so forth. So, guys just continue to come in with high expectations. We come in with high expectations every year. We don't talk about winning at all. We don't talk about championships. What we do talk about is consistency and our performance. And we put a lot of emphasis on those 2 areas. And, of course, living the right lifestyle to go along with that. And we've just been fortunate to get some really good kids here, and they've done a great job. And I've been fortunate to have great people surrounded behind me or in front of me or whatever. But, John Peterson, Brady Wilson, guys like yourself that have coached through the ranks here. We've had really good graduate assistants throughout the year that I think have made a huge difference in our program as well. Travis Holt this year, tremendous job. Was with me 5 years as a student athlete and coached 2 years with us, so 7 years in the program, and that's an investment. Anybody that spends that much time really has to believe in what we're doing. Not just a testament to our program, but obviously a testament to that individual's loyalty and work ethic and commitment to Husky wrestling.
Gotcha. And you mentioned it a little bit just now about, kind of the support you have as far as your coaching staff, but maybe just talk about, some of the people that helped you along the way rebuilding that program and continue to support you guys as a program and you individually, maybe that's maybe helped you get over, the next hump to be successful and bring home all those trophies?
Well, I think it comes down to a partnership with your administration. I've been fortunate to have some individuals that have supported our program. Morris Kurtz, the former athletic director here of, I don't know, 25, 30 years. And then Heather Weems, our current athletic director, who's been here, I think, 6 or 7 years, and she's been really pivotal in our success as well. But then you go back to our alumni, and there was a core group of alumni when I got here that really wanted to see this thing take off and have success. And they definitely bled black and red. They were those type of individuals. I mean, they gave a lot to us financially, but not only that, they just were always there to support us. We'd go on the road and big tournaments and events, and there's just a strong following and interest for Husky wrestling, and that made a big difference, and that grew as well. I mean, we grew our alumni base almost over 50%, and when you have that kind of support and you go to these big tournaments and you guys are competing, it really makes a difference. It makes a big difference in our performance. We not only want to have success for ourselves, but we want to have success for them as well. So we just had a lot of support from administration, and obviously our alumni, and certainly I have to mention the community as well. The communities, there's several individuals in the community that have really stuck by my side and stuck by our side, Husky wrestling side, and really helped elevate our program as well. So it's just a collective effort there's a lot of different people involved with success, and having success, it's not one coach or one athlete. It's there's several different people in the picture.
Yeah, sounds like you have some great people in place, and it continues to, I know you continue to build that foundation and continue to reach out to people that are involved in the program and just keeping those guys involved. And I've seen, some of the former athletes from when I was there, and it's a reunion every time, and I always talk to them, have a good time. So it's like, once you're, a Husky, you're always a Husky, it seems like. So the other thing I wanted to bring up, and I actually never even knew this when I was with you or are, knowing each other for the past how many years. You were a 3-time All-American, Division II, 3-time All-American at Omaha, but just maybe touch briefly on, how times are different now in the wrestling room than maybe when you were in college, and how you kind of, you're not in that mode where you're like, hey, this is how we did it when I was successful, and you've adapted and gotten some new stuff into your room.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I think I competed, now it's going on almost 25 years ago was my last year in collegiate wrestling as a competitor, but the competition is changed. I think wrestlers are definitely better today than they were back in those times. There's just a lot of resources out there to help those kids be successful with clubs, and there's a lot better coaching today than there was. There was great coaching when I was wrestling as well, but I think overall on a, from a depth point of view, I mean, there's just a lot of great coaches out there, and there's just a lot of opportunities for these kids to be successful. I think the training has definitely changed over time, and it's not anymore. It's not you don't just go in the room and grind on your guys. I mean, you're going to have those moments when you're grinding and you're pushing hard, and you're going to try to get a lot out of those guys, and you try to get a lot out of them regardless. But I think you just got to be smarter with your training, and so training's really changed, and there's been a lot more research out there for coaches than ever before, and a lot more studies on training and skills than ever before as well. So times have really changed, but we're dealing with a whole different athlete right now than we were 25, 30 years ago, in my opinion. Not to say that those athletes weren't good back in those times. There's some legends in that era, but today there's just from a depth point of view, there's just a heck of a lot more depth there. There's a lot of talent out there.
Yeah, and I agree with you, right? With all the media that's involved now and the training, online training stuff, and even, through these times, all the resources that are available to everybody just to be online and get educated, I guess. The next thing I just talking about is kind of, maybe off the mat. When you have recruits in there and, you're talking about the university as a whole, what are you telling, those kids about academics, or what incentives do you have to look forward to come to St. Cloud State?
I think ultimately we have to make sure that we provide the right education for them, and do we have the major opportunities that they're looking for to be successful. With a university like St. Cloud State, we have over 12,000 students here. We have all the resources for our student athletes to be successful in the classroom, and I think that's huge. And although it's a bigger institution, we're probably right in the middle of the pack in terms of enrollment and all that. Class sizes are small in a lot of our majors and so forth. We have over 175 majors, pre-professional options. So there's a lot of choices. When you get down to your area of study, I mean, there may maybe only be 25, 30 students in that major, and then of course your classroom size will definitely vary as well. But ultimately, at the end of the day, what it comes down to is marketability. We want these guys to be able to leave St. Cloud State and be marketable. Obviously, we want to provide a great wrestling experience for them when they're here, but we want to make sure that when they graduate and they're ready to go out into the working world, that they can put a resume together that it would be very difficult for someone not to hire them. So we want to make sure that we make them very marketable when they leave here as an individual getting ready to go into their next phase of their life.
Awesome. Well, I mean, that's all the questions I have for you today, Steve. Is there anything, that you would like to add, or anything you'd like to tell everybody?
Well, I just want to thank you, Derek, for inviting me on your podcast today, and thank you for everything you're doing with USA Wrestling. And I think USA Wrestling's stronger than it ever has been, and that's something else that's really taken off is our development programs. Obviously with their student athletes, but USA Wrestling's really put an emphasis on bringing in good people to work for them, such as yourself. So you're a great friend of mine. I really appreciate everything you continue to do for me and St. Cloud State, and I really enjoyed visiting with you today.
Awesome. I appreciate your time, Steve, and look forward to keeping in touch, and best of luck to you guys in the future.
Thanks, Derek.